Hi everyone at home, this is Austin here at Common Bond. Today we're going to be doing a mindful flow as always here Tuesday night. I will always mince my words, will continuously happen both in regular life and in teaching. Um, for today's practice, you might want to grab a couple of pillows, possibly a block or anything. It's not necessarily you need a block for today's practice, but it just might be helpful. They're always helpful. And we'll get started laying down our back for this practice. And this is where, if you have those blankets, those pillows, stack them upon each other and just bring them right behind the lower back and just lay down on them. You can also just lay down on your back if you don't have those right next to you at this moment. And allow the arms to just splay out towards the side. Palms can face up or down. Allow the eyes to rest, to close. Allow the sides of the feet to fall to the side. Just trying to completely relax the body. Not trying to hold anything up here at the beginning. If you're in this slight chest opening, back opening, just notice how that feels, where you feel the stretch in the torso, the chest. And really taking this time at the beginning of this mindful practice to begin that journey of really tuning inwards, that are of noticing everything that's going on in this moment. And that can be focusing more on the physical side of things, how your body feels, the point of contact of your skin, your body against the mat, that weight of gravity pressing you down. The other option is to turn more into that internal state, that mental state of just noticing where your thoughts might be taking you in this moment, that speed at which thoughts come in and out. One stays for a while, maybe you fixate one particular thing, a stress, a worry, a positive event that might have happened recently that you might be kind of still relishing in. Maybe tuning into any emotions that might be coming up with you, whether any emotions pop up as thoughts come up in the mind, whether you get a little anxious when you think about something that you need to do. The goal of being mindful is not to start thinking about these things or just find this empty mind completely. That's almost impossible as human beings, but more just allowing those thoughts to come up as they do, not trying to pass any judgment on anything that's happening in this moment, both mentally and physically. And when thoughts or feelings ever become too overwhelming, you can move more towards the physical side of things, that thing to ground you more into this present moment. Maybe using that breath as a tool, really exploring the length of the breath, the way the breath moves the body, that rise and fall motion as you breathe. Not changing anything in the breath just yet, just allow it to move in and out. Connecting with it a little bit more than we usually do during our day. And eventually starting to grow each round of breath. Each inhale, maybe inviting in a little bit more oxygen into the belly, into the chest. Feel a deeper expansion upward. And on the exhale, feel everything melt back into the mat, into pillows, a bolster if you have one. Just taking a couple of rounds of breath just like that. Each inhale, fill up to your max capacity, really allow the lungs to expand in all directions. Take a deep breath. Notice if there's any constriction in the breath. And exhale, let it all go. Feel the body melt back down. Tension releases on each exhale. Deep inhale, fill up belly, chest. Reach that edge of your breath. And exhale, let it all out. One more breath just like that here. Go at your own rate, fill up. Maybe your deepest breath yet of your day. Starting to bring some movement into the body. Just some slow, gentle movements. Wiggling the toes at first. How does it feel to move that part of your body? Is there any tingling sensations in the toes and the fingers? Maybe then you start to wiggle the fingers a little bit. How does it feel to bring these small movements in? Maybe roll out the wrist, flex and point the feet a couple of times. Maybe you feel any of those snap, crackle, pops going on in the body and the joints. Keep that breath going. And next inhale, start to sweep the arms out and then up behind you, pulling back through the fingertips and forward through the toes. Maybe feel the lower back slightly come off the mat, the bolster, below. Exhale, slowly bring the arms back down to your side. Open them up into a T position. Pause here for a round of breath in. Round of breath out. Allow the eyes to stay rested as you just start to gently roll over to your right hand side of the mat, rolling off the pillows, the bolster. Pulling knees in towards belly, cradling the head in the chest, head in the arms. A round of breath in. A round of breath out. Next, take this next journey really slow. First, plant the left hand into the mat. Feel the palm against the ground. Notice temperature, textures underneath the hands. Eyes are still rested. Take an exhale. Inhale, start to put more and more pressure into that left hand. Notice that engagement of the arm as you slowly press yourself up. Notice each part of your body that has to move to get yourself up to seated. While you're using the arms, a little bit of the core, chest. Start to come into seated just for a moment. Maybe set the pillows to the side. Making room on your mat. Finding a comfortable seated position, maybe sitting up on a block, a pillow. Take an inhale, roll the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Exhale, roll them down our back, shoulder blades together. Heart shining forward. Chin slightly lifted. Feel that length from the top of the crown all the way down to the lower back. Next, inhale, sweep the arms out towards the ceiling. Bring the gaze up towards the fingertips. Blink the eyes open. Notice how the eyes have to adjust to light around in the room. Palms touch. Feel skin on skin contact. Exhale, draw the hands down through heart center. A breath in here. A breath out. Starting to make your way towards tabletop, either rolling over the shins, sweeping the legs out in front of you and then to the side. Stacking shoulders above wrists, spreading nice and wide through those fingers like starfish. Hips are stacked above knees. Take an inhale. Finding a nice strong tabletop exhale. Bend the elbows out towards the side slightly. Inhale. Exhale, wrap the elbows towards each other. Rotate the biceps forward and press into the hands, straighten through the arms. And from this strong foundation in the arms and the hips, start to move through your cat-cow flow. Inhale, roll the belly down, bring the gaze forward for cow. Exhale, press into the mat. Start to tuck the hips slightly underneath you. Arch through the spine as much as you can. Release the head. Cat. Inhale, release the belly. Drop it all down. Gaze comes towards the top of the room. Exhale. Curl it in. Find that nice deep stretch through the spine and the shoulders, shoulder blades. Just take 2 more rounds of that cat-cow flow. Move as slow as your breath here. Finishing up your last round. And meet in neutral tabletop. Still rooting nice and strong through those hands, through the base of the knuckles. Palms are completely grounded into the mat. Tuck the toes underneath you, preparing to transition to down dog. Lower belly tucks in on your inhale. Exhale, press into the hands, lift the knees up the mat, off the mat, and then hips up and back. Making that inverted V shape. Adjust the distance in between your hand and your feet as necessary to find a nice solid base here. Check in with the hands where your weight is in them. Try to, once again, press down through those base of the knuckles. Elbows rolling towards each other, biceps rotating forward. Maybe bend deeply into the knees for this first one. Or walk out your dog, bending one knee, straightening through the other leg. Switching sides. And just take 3 breaths here to explore your down dog. Notice sensation in this posture. Up the back of the legs, the calves, the feet, the strength in the shoulders, the hands, the arms. Release the neck, not trying to bring extra tension there. Next exhale, bend into the knees. Look forward past the fingertips. And as slow as you can go, walk the feet slowly towards the hands. Keep that nice deep bend on the knee. So the belly, the torso rests on the thighs. Torso drapes over the legs. Release the neck, release the arms. Ragdoll. Maybe hands to elbows. You can sway side to side. Really just allowing gravity to pull you forward, not trying to resist it. Legs will support you here, but allow the upper body to completely relax. Start to release the hands back down towards the mat. Press through the insides of the feet. Feel the more engagement in the legs. Next inhale, start to roll up vertebra by vertebra. Upper torso is still nice and heavy. Arms dangle down. Neck releases as you roll up slowly. Head and shoulders, last thing to rise. Maybe a shoulder roll at the top to reset the chest. Inhale all the way up toward the ears. Exhale, roll them down and back. Open the arms beside you, palms face forward. Find that strength in the legs. Press down through the feet. Almost like you're trying to scrunch the mat up. Underneath the soles of the feet, the toes. Tailbone is slightly tucked underneath you. Shoulder blades are still pulling towards each other to shine the heart forward. Chin is slightly lifted. Eyes can close. Take a round of breath here in this engaged mountain pose. Inhale, start to sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. Bring the gaze up towards the fingertips. Palms touch. Exhale, draw the hands down through heart center. Starting to move through some super slow rounds of sun salutations. Inhale, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, out. Inhale, reach up even more through the fingertips. Exhale, pull just the arms back. Torso stays exactly where it is for a slight back bend. Maybe engage the lower belly, hips slightly press forward to help support that small, tiny back bend. Inhale, bring the hands directly back up above you. Exhale, bend into the knees. Start to hinge forward, coming into that standing forward fold. Take your time to come down, no rush at all. Pause here for a round of breath. Still bend deeply into the knees. And next inhale carries you up for your halfway lift. Press the hands into the shin, right underneath the knees. Pull the crown of the head forward, lower belly slightly in. Hold here for a round of breath, in and out. Inhale. And next exhale carries you back down into your forward fold. Legs bent or straightened, doesn't matter at all. Find where you want to go in your own practice. Round of breath here. Inhale. Exhale, bend into the knees, plant the hands, step both feet back to your plank. And you have the option here to come to the knees, make fist for wrist, doesn't matter. Whatever option you're in, lower belly is in. Lift the shoulders up, pull the crown of the head forward. Gaze will be slightly in front of the mat, not directly down or directly up in between. From that place of strength, take an inhale. And exhale, slowly start to come into your chaturanga. Bend into the elbows, squeeze them in towards the rib cage, lower chest and belly all the way down to the mat. Press the tops of the feet into the ground. Feel the kneecaps lift off the mat. Wrap the elbows back in towards the rib cage. Hold here. On your next inhale, pull shoulder blades even more towards each other. And from that place, lift the chest off the mat. Maybe hover the hands for baby cobra. Once again, pull the crown of the head forward. Gaze is not looking directly forward or directly down in between. Hold here for a round of breath. Inhale. And exhale, come back down to the mat. Bring the forehead down to the ground and pause. In these moments when we pause, notice what comes up physically and mentally. Next inhale, come back into your baby cobra. Press the tops of the feet in, shoulder blades pull towards each other, lift from the chest. Then maybe the hands. You can stay here. You can plant the hands right underneath the chest and start to press the palms down as you straighten through the arms. Slight micro bend in the elbows for full cobra. Take an inhale. Exhale, pull shoulder blades back, chest forward, lower belly in. Inhale. Exhale, start to tuck the toes, lift the knees, and then the hips up and back, down, dog. Here for a round of breath. Inhale. Exhale, bend into the knees, look forward. Slowly walk it to the top of your mat. Breathe in your standing forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Hold for a round of breath. Inhale. Exhale, release. Weight in towards the heels. Find strength in the legs, lower belly in. Inhale, sweep the arms out and reach them all the way up, rising up. Palms meet. Exhale, draw the hands down through heart center. Maybe close the eyes. 3 rounds of breath here. Inhale deep through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. One more round here. Inhale. Let it all go. Exhale. Taking that journey again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, pull the arms back. Maybe the hips slightly press forward. Maybe the gaze slightly lifts up towards the ceiling for that slight back bend. Lower belly in. Round of breath here. Next, inhale, pulls you up. Exhale, takes you down into your forward fold. Round of breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Hold here. Inhale. Exhale, bring it back down to your standing forward fold. Pausing for the inhale. Exhale, bend into the knees. Plant the hands. Take your feet back. Meet in high plank, low plank, whatever floats your boat in this practice. Lower belly in. Shoulders nice and lifted. Gaze slightly forward. Exhale. Bring your chest down to the mat. Squeeze in towards the midline as you come down. Hold here for a round of breath in. Next, inhale carries you up to your back bend of choice. Baby cobra, full cobra. Shoulder blades are pulling together. Each variation, lower belly is squeezing in. Inhale. And exhale carries you up and back for your down dog. Inhale. Exhale, bend into the knees. Look forward. Just bring it to the top of your mat. Take your time. Notice if you start to rush, you start to go into autopilot mode because you know what's coming next. Slow it down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Weight in the heels. Inhale, sweep out, up, rise. Palms touch. Exhale, carry it down. One more round of that. After 3 rounds of breath here, deep inhale. Exhale, mouth. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale out. One final round of that sun salutation. So again, start to notice when you speed up, when you start to move to that autopilot mode, start to tune out of your body, out of your breath. Just gently bring yourself back. Inhale to rise. Exhale, maybe take it back for that back bend. Deep, if you wish, or just be gentle on the body here. Inhale, reach it back up. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take it back to the mat. Deep inhale. Exhale, bend into the knees. Plant the hands. Step both feet back. Find your variation of plank. Inhale at the top. Exhale carries you down. Inhale for your back bend. And exhale for down dog. Hold here for a round of breath. Inhale. Exhale, bend into the knees. Look forward. Inhale, bring it to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, take it up towards the ceiling. Exhale to bring it towards the heart to close the eyes. Notice after those 3 rounds if anything has changed. Whether or not you found more room in the body, if you found some heat in the body, if the mind has slowed down or sped up. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. 2 more rounds. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Extra sip at that top of your inhale. Exhale, release it all out. Let's bring it down to our mat. Inhale, reach up. Blink the eyes open. Exhale, carries you down to the mat. Inhale for your last final lift. Exhale, bring the hands down to the ground, bend into the knees, step both feet back. Just drop to the knees, untuck the toes. Take an inhale on tabletop. Exhale, carry the hips back towards the heels, drop the forearms, drop the head. If the forehead is not coming to the mat, just bring a pillow block underneath the forehead. Just have some kind of contact there. 3 rounds of breath. Notice what comes up in this moment of stillness, mentally, physically. Next inhale, slowly start to walk the hands towards the knees, pressing the palms into the ground to lift the chest up, rising all the way up, finding yourself in hero's pose. Lift the hips off the mat, rise up. Start to extend the right leg out to the side. Toes are pointing forward. Try to find that knee aligned with that inner arch of the right foot. Take your hands to your hips, press the right hip down, left hip slightly up. Left hip pulls forward, right hip slightly pulls back. Lightly stomp down through that right foot. Also feel free to bring a slight micro bend to that right knee, not trying to hyperextend. Inhale, sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, start to bring that right hand down to any point along that right leg, maybe just upper thigh, maybe past the knee, not pressing that knee in, so move past the knee to the upper calf or further down. Reach that left arm up and over. Take an inhale. Exhale, pull the left shoulder slightly back to open up the heart a little bit more. The gaze can stay towards the front of the room, release the neck, or you can slightly lift it up towards the ceiling. Breathe here. Notice where your hips are. If they're tilting back towards the side of the mat, press them forward. See how that changes the stretch in the body. One more round of breath here. Inhale, reach both arms back up towards the ceiling. Exhale, start to bring the left palm down either to the mat or to a block. Keep that right arm reaching up directly at first. Take an inhale. Exhale, press the hips forward. Inhale. Maybe from that space, exhale, reach that right arm over towards the left side. Inhale. The exhale pulls the right shoulder slightly back. Maybe the gaze comes up towards the ceiling. Feel the stretch through the side body. Inhale. And exhale, start to close the torso towards the mat, lowering that right hand down to the ground. Walk it all the way towards center. Maybe you pulse back and forth a couple of times. You can tuck the left toes underneath you as well to intensify that stretch a little bit. Maybe you take the hips all the way towards the heel. Eventually coming back to center. Pulling that right knee back in. Maybe a round of cat-cow. Lifting all the way up, lift the torso, taking that to the opposite side. Extend that left leg out towards the side. Align that knee with that inner arch. Walk that knee a little bit out, right knee out until hip is stacked right above the knee. Take your hands to your hips, press the left hip down, right hip slightly comes up, while pulling the left hip back, right hip forward. Inhale, bring arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, start to take that left hand down to any point along that leg, except pressing in on that knee. Start to reach that right arm up and over. Take an inhale. The exhale carries the right shoulder slightly back. Press the hips slightly forward. Breathe here. Inhale carries everything back up towards the ceiling. Exhale carries that right hand down to the mat, keeping that left arm reaching directly up towards the ceiling at first, maybe that right hand underneath the block or anything else. Take an inhale. Exhale, press the hips forward. Notice how that changes the stretch. Realign shoulders, stacking them a little bit more right on top of each other. Inhale. Exhale, pull the left shoulder slightly back, open a bit more through the chest. Next, inhale. And then on that exhale, maybe the arm reaches over towards the right, flip the palm down. Release the neck. One more inhale. Exhale, close the chest towards the mat. Drop that left hand down to the ground. Walk the hands towards center. Maybe tuck that right toes underneath you. Once again, you can pulse back and forth. Maybe you're carrying the hips all the way back to that right heel. Eventually coming back to center. Pulling that left knee back in. Maybe a round of cat-cow. Bring it back to child's pose for 3 breaths. Reconnect with the breath if you lost it. Notice where your mind is taking you in this moment. Inhale, slowly walk the hands in towards the knees. Pressing your way into the hands to lift the torso up for hero's pose. From there, lifting the hips up from the heels, rising all the way up. Coming into our back bends, camel pose. Maybe tucking the toes underneath you. Find your hips align with those knee joints. Take your hands to the back pockets. Take an inhale. Exhale, pull shoulder blades together, elbows pull towards each other, heart slightly puffs out. You can just stay here. Engage the lower belly, that core strength to help protect the lower back instead of just dumping into the spine. Maybe you take an inhale. Maybe exhale carries you back. Lead with the heart, almost like a string is pulling your heart up towards the ceiling and drop from that space. You can keep the hands to support the lower spine the entire time, or you can release them down to grab a hold of the heels. Maybe you can release the neck if it feels comfortable. You can also just keep it lifted. One's not better than the other. Lower belly is still pulling in here. Hips are pressing forward. You can also release the tops of the feet down to the mat to go a little bit deeper into this posture. And try to see how long you can stay here. This pose activates that fight or flight response, that need to get out as soon as possible. Try to hold with your breath, taking those deep inhales and exhales to help slow that process down. Sit a little bit more with discomfort, unease. If it's ever pain, slowly come out, but if it's more you start to feel anxious, the heart rate speeds up, really focus on your breath. When you're ready, slowly start to lift the chest up. Maybe taking those hands to that lower back to support you up. And take it nice and slow. Don't force the body into a new position quickly just yet. Slowly release the hips to the heels. Then find yourself in child's pose. Allow the spine to round, to reset after that deep back opening. Forehead in contact with something, matte, black, whatever you can find. Notice anything that's remaining after that posture. If the heart's still beating pretty quickly. Any tightness in the lower back after holding that posture. One more round of breath here. And slowly start to come back up to your hero's pose, just as a transition. Drop the hips to the side, swing the legs forward. Start to take the insole of the left foot to the inner right thigh. Take that right leg slightly out. Maybe readjust that sole of the foot so it's still planted to the inside of that leg. Inhale, sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale to rotate the chest towards that right leg. Inhale, find even more length, reach up through the fingertips. Maybe bend into that right knee. And exhale, hinge forward, grabbing on any point along that leg, sole of the foot, shin, whatever is helpful here. And just allow your spine to round. Really curl in as much as you can. Maybe a forehead comes down to that knee. Bend that knee as much as possible to bring those two things in contact. Breathe here. With each exhale, if you wish, you can focus on straightening that leg a little bit more, trying to keep that forehead and knee in contact. Next, inhale, bring yourself back up. Take that left hand behind you. Point the fingertips towards the back of the mat. Inhale, press into that left hand. Start to lift the hips up, planting that right foot into the mat. Maybe reach that right arm up towards the ceiling, and then maybe up and over, releasing the neck. Hold here for a round. In. And exhale, slowly drop the hips back down to the ground. Switch sides, extend left leg out, right sole of the foot comes in. Inhale, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, rotate the chest towards that left leg. Bend into the knee. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold. Round the spine, almost like in your cat posture here. Bring that forehead in contact with that knee. Maybe each exhale invites a little bit more room through that leg, straightening a little bit. We're going more for here is that compression, so still trying to keep that forehead to knee as you lengthen. Next, inhale to come up. Right hand comes behind you. Plant it into the ground, fingertips face towards the back of the room. Inhale, press into the right hand. Start to lift the hips up, press that left foot into the mat. Reach the left arm up, and then reach it back behind you if you want. Inhale. And exhale, set all back down. Reach the legs out in front of you. Plant the soles of the feet onto the mat. Bring the hands to the shins first. Take an inhale. Exhale, use the grip on your shins to pull the chest forward, find length through the spine. Engage the core lower belly to support you as you reach the arms forward, palms face towards the ceiling. Inhale. And exhale, try to keep that flat spine as you lower down to the mat. Core will have to work a little harder as you come closer and closer towards the ground. When you reach the bottom, pull the knees in towards the belly. Wrap the arms around the shins, back to the leg. Maybe you rock side to side. Start to release the feet into the ground. Finding a supported bridge pose. Let the forearms into the ground. Press the heels into the ground. Lift the hips up. Slide pillows, bolster blocks on the lowest setting if you have a block, and set the hips down. And notice here if you're arcing the back up and it pulls the chin like you create a double chin, you don't want that. Pull the lower back down into the block a bit more, and notice that room you find in the neck so you can breathe a little bit more freely. It's not restricted with that triple, double, quadruple chin that happens, especially for me. Close the eyes and just breathe here. Hands can rest anywhere. You're fully supported by the block. Three more breaths.